Welcome to Creepy, the best horror storyteller on YouTube.
Alex woke up to the sound of his alarm clock. He hit the snooze button and rolled over, trying to savor the last few minutes of sleep. But something was wrong. It was still dark outside. He sat up and looked at the clock. It was 7:30 a.m. The sun should have been up hours ago. Alex got out of bed and went to the window. He pulled back the curtains and peered out. The sky was a deep, inky black. There was not a single star or planet to be seen. It was as if the entire universe had been extinguished. Alex felt a chill run down his spine. He had never seen anything like it. He turned away from the window and went to wake up his friends. Ben, Chris, and Daniel were just as surprised and confused as Alex when they saw the dark sky. They had no idea what was happening. The friends gathered in the living room and tried to figure out what to do. They checked the news, but there was nothing about the missing son. They tried to call their families and friends, but the phone lines were down. The friends were starting to panic. They didn't know what was happening or how to survive. "We need to stay calm," Alex said. "We need to figure out what's going on and come up with a plan." The friends agreed. They decided to go outside and see if they could learn anything from their neighbors. Alex, Ben, Chris, and Daniel stepped outside into the darkness. The world was eerily quiet. The only sound was the wind rustling through the trees. The friends walked down the street, knocking on doors and calling out to their neighbors. But no one answered. It was as if everyone in the neighborhood had vanished. The friends started to feel scared. They didn't know where everyone had gone or what was happening to the world. "We need to get back to the house," Alex said. "It's not safe out here." The friends hurried back to Alex's house and locked the door. They were all feeling scared and confused. But they knew that they needed to stick together in order to survive. "What are we going to do?" Ben asked. "I don't know," Alex said. "But we're going to figure it out." The friends sat down in the living room and started to brainstorm. They needed to find food, water, and shelter. They also needed to be careful of the creatures that might emerge from the shadows in the darkness. "We need to find a generator," Chris said. "That way we'll have electricity. And we need to find some food and water," Daniel added. "We can't survive without those." The friends agreed and started to make a plan. They decided that Alex and Ben would go out and look for a generator, while Chris and Daniel stayed at the house to look for food and water. Alex and Ben armed themselves with flashlights and baseball bats. They then stepped outside into the darkness. Chris and Daniel locked the door behind them and started to search the house for food and water. They found some canned goods and bottled water in the kitchen. They also found some batteries and candles. Chris and Daniel were relieved to find the food and supplies. But they knew that they needed to be careful. They didn't know what was out there in the darkness. Alex and Ben walked down the street, shining their flashlights into the shadows. They were both on edge, expecting something to jump out at them at any moment. The friends walked for several blocks, but they didn't find a generator. They were starting to lose hope. "Maybe we should just go back," Ben said. "It's not safe out here." "No," Alex said. "We can't give up. We need to find a generator." The friends continued to walk. They were about to turn around and go back when they saw a light in the distance. "What's that?" Ben asked. "I don't know," Alex said. "But let's go check it out." The friends hurried towards the light. As they got closer, they saw that it was coming from a small convenience store. Alex and Ben looked at each other. They both knew what they had to do. They took a deep breath and opened the door to the convenience store. Alex and Ben stepped inside the convenience store and closed the door behind them. The store was dark, but they could see the glow of a few emergency lights in the distance. Alex and Ben turned on their flashlights and started to search the store. They found a generator in the back room. They also found some more food and water. Alex and Ben were relieved to find the generator and supplies. They knew that they could now survive for a while. They hurried back to Alex's house with the generator and supplies. Chris and Daniel were overjoyed to see them. The friends worked together to set up the generator. Once it was running, they turned on the lights and appliances. The friends were finally able to relax and enjoy a hot meal. They talked about what had happened and what they should do next. "We need to find out what happened to the sun," Alex said. "And we need to find a way to restore the light." The friends agreed. They decided that they would go out and explore the world the next day. They would try to find other survivors and learn more about what was happening. The next morning, Alex, Ben, Chris, and Daniel woke up early and prepared to go out. They packed their backpacks with food, water, and supplies. They also armed themselves with flashlights and baseball bats. The friends stepped outside into the darkness. They were all feeling scared and anxious, but they knew that they had to do this. They had to find out what happened to the sun and find a way to restore the light. The friends walked down the street, shining their flashlights into the shadows. They were all on edge, expecting something to jump out at them at any moment. Alex and Ben were walking in front when they saw a group of people gathered in the middle of the street. The people were all armed with flashlights and baseball bats. "Hello?" Alex called out. The people turned to look at Alex and Ben. They looked wary and scared. "Who are you?" one of the people asked. "We're just trying to survive," Alex said. "We're looking for other survivors and we're trying to find out what happened to the sun." The people looked at each other and then back at Alex and Ben. "We're survivors too," one of the people said. "We've been living in the dark for days now. We don't know what happened to the sun or how to restore the light." "We're all in the same boat," Alex said. "We need to work together to survive and find a way to restore the light." The people agreed. The two groups of survivors joined forces and continued on their way. The friends walked for several blocks, talking and getting to know each other. They learned that the other group of survivors was made up of a family of 4. The family consisted of a father, mother, and 2 young children. They had been living in their house in the dark for days, just like Alex and his friends. The friends and the family decided to work together to find a way to survive and restore the light. They knew that it would be a challenge, but they were determined to succeed. The friends and the family continued on their way, walking through the dark world together. They were all scared and anxious, but they knew that they had to stick together in order to survive. They didn't know what the future held, but they were determined to find a way to restore the light and save the world. Alex, Ben, Chris, Daniel, and the family of 4 continued on their way, searching for a way to restore the light. They walked for days, encountering other survivors along the way. The survivors joined forces and formed a caravan. They traveled together, sharing food, water, and supplies. They also helped each other stay safe and protected from the dangers of the dark world. One day, the caravan came across a group of scientists who were working on a way to restore the sun. The scientists had been working for weeks, but they had not yet been successful. The survivors offered to help the scientists with their research. They worked together tirelessly, day and night. After many setbacks, the scientists finally succeeded in restoring the sun. The world was saved from darkness and the survivors were overjoyed. The friends and the family of 4 were hailed as heroes for their role in restoring the light. They had risked their lives to save the world and they had succeeded. In the aftermath of the darkness, the world came together to rebuild. The survivors learned from their experience and they vowed to never take the sun for granted again. Alex, Ben, Chris, and Daniel continued to be friends. They had survived the darkness together and they had helped to save the world. They knew that their bond was unbreakable. The family of 4 also continued to be close. They had been through a lot together and they had learned to appreciate the simple things in life. They knew that they were lucky to be alive and they were determined to make the most of their second chance. The world was a different place after the darkness, but it was a better place. The survivors had learned to appreciate the sun and all of the other things that they had taken for granted before. They knew that they were all connected and that they needed to work together to create a better future for everyone.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe for more similar horror stories.